Imagine
A podcast.
where time drifts slowly,
A podcast.
where
Isaac.
carries you away.
So let me be clear. We tortured some folks.
Like this bitch-ass white boy.
I don't know how many of y'all know this, but I'm a bit of a jock. I love all sports, but I love basketball in particular. Before I became a podcaster and shit poster and all around Florida man, I was traveling the world playing pickup basketball. I wanted to write a book about how basketball and Buddhism worked together somehow. I was trying to fit these two hobbies in my life, these two passions together somehow. And so I lived in China, I lived in Tibet, I lived in India, and I traveled the world playing street basketball, trying to get at the root of all truth somehow. That I thought that you could find it on a basketball court. Feels kind of corny thinking about it now, but I'll probably return to it. So this episode's a bit of a return to form for me, thinking about sports. It's the first game of the NBA Finals tonight, and I don't imagine a lot of my listeners are big sports fans. So I wanted to help y'all get into it a little bit and tell you what's at stake between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. I'll be rooting for Dallas. But to kind of make things interesting, I invited two friends on the show who are sports boys. Sam Geller, also known as Samson the Truist. Check out his music. I'll put a little bit in the intro and his new song at the end. So if you like his stuff, check the bio below. And also my friend Dan, also known as Troop Hater, who I think makes some of the best sports jokes on the internet these days. And we'll be discussing the Celtics and the Mavericks and the lessers of two evil in sports.
San Francisco passes by me like a dream. On your motorcycle, my whole periphery blurs into the sea. Past the Golden Gate to the cliffs of Marin County, and then on.
Conflict sells, guys, and even if it's gonna be a bunch of kayfabe, I might even like pause the show and try and coach you guys like a reality show manager would to just make things more interesting. You know, like. What's a slur for someone who lives in Boston?
I don't know. Is there one?
Beanhole?
A beanhole?
Beanhole. I mean, you could say beaner, but that's just more racist than anything.
Yeah, that's the wrong kind. I mean, you guys have Mexicans in Boston, but not too many, right?
Not really, yeah.
What's the slur for a Philly person?
Like a
fentanyl addict.
Benjamin Franklin, shut the fuck up. I don't know.
Fentanylia. I can't figure it out. We'll have to workshop this some other time. But yeah, we're doing a sports ball episode, and I wanted the two of you to come on the show and.
Why do you want to bring on a fucking perpetual loser like a Philadelphia 76er fan to talk to me?
Oh my God! Here we go. Yeah, bro. When was the last time you won a championship?
2008. I mean,
Yeah.
but like, we're obviously in this fucking period of dominance and greatness. We've all been witnessing. I'm in the Eastern Conference Finals. What is it? 5 of the last 7.
Yeah, they hang banners for that.
No, but it's like we're a great team. If we win the championship this year, then this whole era is secured as being as a great era.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna call it a Mickey Mouse ring if you win it.
Yeah, people cope in mysterious ways.
It's true. I mean, yeah.
All right, this is working out exactly as I hoped it would. So I'm gonna do a more formal introduction because this is the show. The show is now. We're doing the show. Welcome to another episode of Coexist Inc. We're doing a sports episode in preparation of the NBA Finals.
where we have the Dallas Mavericks versus the Boston Celtics. I've never met a Dallas Mavericks fan in my entire life, so I couldn't find one to come on the show. But I do have a Boston fan on, and he's my old friend, Sam Geller. Say hello, Sam.
Yeah, hello.
Boston born and raised, right?
Yeah.
Through and through, forever.
Like my father before him and his father before him.
Okay. And then on the opposing side of the ring, is that how they say it in Boston? And I don't know. We have Dan, also known as Troop Hater on the internet. And if I can censor your name if you don't want people to know your actual name.
I mean, Dan's fine. Just
Yeah.
not my full government, brother.
No. Although, Dan, you want to say hello to your FBI listener, because I know that they're tracking you pretty
baby?
closely.
Did I tell you about the Google email I got recently?
No. So tell everybody the story about what happened to you real quick.
Well, FBI just came to my apartment maybe was that like a year ago, 2 years ago? Who knows? And they had printed out black and white copies of some tweets that I had made, which, in hindsight, were probably best left kept in the drafts.
What were the tweets?
There was one about a Joker 2 screening at the downtown Brooklyn movie theater, and I said, don't go to this screening, even though it was a made-up date because the movie hadn't come out yet. But yeah, they had that one, and they asked me if I had any weapons and if I was planning an attack. And I just 2 weeks ago, I got an email from Google being like, hey, we just want to let you know that we were under a court order and we couldn't let you know, but the FBI requested your Google history from us, so we provided that to them, and that's pretty much it. If you want to follow up, there's nowhere you can really follow up. Maybe open up a FOIA request for your record. And I was like, all right, thanks, guys.
And this is because you're from Philadelphia, mostly. You think that they targeted you?
Yeah, it's the FBI's anti-Philadelphia bias once again.
So yeah, while you are you're the biggest Philly fan I know. Philly is not in the finals, but Boston's probably one of your least favorite teams, right?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah,
the Boston Celtics out of all four major sports, I think the hatred goes the deepest. Probably it's the Cowboys and the Celtics, I would say.
So you're rooting for Dallas though in this finals?
Oh yeah, with as if I was born in Dallas for sure.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna talk about the merits, and we'll get into a handful of other goofy shit. But for the time being, let's just quickly go through why we should root for or against these teams. Sam, I'm gonna have you start and tell me, as a Boston fan, I'm gonna rewind a little bit and tell a little story about Sam. And one of the first bits of time I ever spent with Sam in college, I think it was 2008. It was the Super Bowl, and it was the Giants versus the Patriots, and that helmet catch happened.
Tyree had Harrison all over him. The ball was on his helmet, but he got his other hand on it, pulled it in.
It was the greatest play in Super Bowl history.
And that was the perfect season, right? That was the perfect Patriots season.
2007, I think, yeah.
2007, yeah. And I remember watching the game with you in a dorm, and you just got up and left, and no one saw you for days.
Yeah, that was a mistake. It's fucking our liberal arts college. All these fucking kids don't give a shit about sports, and then it's the Super Bowl, and they love to pretend get really fucking excited and go I didn't want to I mean, it's probably the last time I've ever watched a big sports game among casuals. It's torture.
I mean, that is the least enjoyable way, especially to watch a fucking Super Bowl.
It fucking sucks. Yeah, a bunch of people, half the people there just excited about the commercials, and then the other half just being
show.
I don't care or know anything about sports at all, but you seem to like this team, so I'm just gonna get
this really
super
matters
aggressive
to you.
in your against you.
Yeah. Where did you go, by the way, for those days no one saw you? Did you wander in the woods or something?
Yeah, into the canyon.
Yeah. So actually, it was the way you loved that team made me a Patriots fan. Like I wanted to be there with you, and so I became a Patriots fan because I wanted to experience some of that love, that passion you had for a sports team. Because I grew up in Florida. You know, the closest team to me is the Orlando Magic. And fuck that, you know, like I'm not rooting for the Magic. I'm definitely not rooting for the Miami Heat. And so I was always kind of this, I was a wandering fan. You know, I would pick teams based on like players and like the ethos of the team or like whatever was most interesting to me. But to have that undying kind of loyalty to a team and to a city was foreign to me. And so I tried to experience some of that through you by picking like one of the most evil teams you could possibly root for, the New England Patriots. And I got to kind of experience that passion a little bit, but obviously nothing like what you experienced.
I mean, even as a pink hat, which is what we call you in Boston, you still got fucking what, 3 Super Bowls?
Who?
Or 2? Like, even as a pink hat, which is in Boston what we call fucking like bandwagon fans, like hop on. As a bandwagon fan of the Patriots, we did nothing to deserve that, but I mean, I appreciated it. I actually genuinely appreciated it. Having friends, sharing that with friends, and I'm saying I think you probably got to watch the Patriots win 3 Super Bowls. Is that right? Or 2?
Yeah,
in that period of time.
Yeah, I mean the Atlanta one was the one that I had the most fun with because I was with a bunch of Atlanta fans and I was wearing a Vince Wilfork jersey, so that was fun. I'm really glad though; it was pretty great.
I mean, even as a Patriots hater, I can say that Super Bowl kicked ass.
Yeah, that was fun. And the Malcolm interception.
Yes, I won't talk about the Eagles one with this fucking guy now. So.
I mean, we can talk about 2004, or we can talk about 2015. Your choice.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I choose 2004, or I choose every single time that the Celtics and the fucking 76ers have faced each other in the last 10 years.
It's true. I mean, the famous Embiid quote, "It's not even a rivalry. They always kick our ass."
Yeah, which brings me back to my original question: what am I doing talking to you? No offense. You seem like a nice guy.
Hey, look, I have to put on for Dallas, baby.
Yeah, there we go.
Also, I feel like that is a spiritual holy war of Kyrie versus the evil Boston Celtics.
And that's where I'm at.
To speak on.
Hell yeah, that's where I'm talking. But hold on, I wanted to say I just want to say I'm very glad to know that you Bostonians have what appears to be a homophobic slur for bandwagon fans.
Yeah, pink. I need to know the etymology of that.
It's definitely a homophobic slur.
I mean, like all good slurs, it has its good got its connotations, but it comes from Red Sox era, like 2003, 2004, when for some reason they started making these Red Sox hats that were, instead of the classic, navy blue with a red B, they were like pink. I think it was right around the time of that movie with Jimmy Kimmel or whatever. And
Fever Pitch.
The pink hats are like these like kind of like these Red Sox hats that just all of a sudden showed up right when they started winning for the first time after 86 years of losing.
So what's at stake right now in the NBA Finals with Boston and in Dallas?
There's actually like an incredible amount at stake right now, because I think we've had a ton of success over the last 5-6 years with this core, and I'm extremely emotionally invested in these guys, and as is everyone for Boston. But we all know that without a championship, that none of this success will have any kind of enduring legacy. And with one championship, it will retroactively justify everything and justify it forever. So that even if they just win one championship this year, never again, it means that they had a 5-year, 6-year run of greatness that will last forever. I mean, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, their numbers are going to get retired without a doubt with this one championship. So, and we might be right back here next year or the year after, but at this, I'm an old enough sports fan to know that these things, they disappear quickly sometimes. So it's really important that we
Yeah.
get this done.
The likelihood that you would have as easy of a path to get to the finals as you had this year, next year is, you know, highly unlikely. I mean, the East is the inferior conference, but I mean, the way things lined up for the Celtics this season, it really is championship or bust. And I mean, it has been for the Celtics. You know, the expectation has been that for the last 2 or 3 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I just experienced a very heartbreaking season with the only club that I love and will love forever, which is the Liverpool Football Club. And I know it's Pride Month, but we don't have to talk about soccer. And we just had another incredibly disappointing season where, you know, it's our Jurgen Klopp's last season coaching the club. And we were like on track to winning the quadruple, which is like 2 cups, the Champions League and the English Premier League. And then we just like ate total dog shit at the end. And what's interesting is that people are looking at the past 9 years of Klopp's reign over Liverpool. And even though he didn't have as many trophies as he possibly could have, and we didn't win anything, I think that his legacy is cemented. So it's kind of weird. Maybe it's because you're used to winning and you're spoiled, that when you don't win something in the end, it's a disappointment. But I don't know. It's the journey, baby. You know. I think
that's loser talk, and I understand it. I expect nothing less from you, but what I'm talking about is like I can enjoy a good season where we don't win the championship. That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about. It's not about this one season, is what I'm trying to say. This is legacies are at stake here. And this team that I've spent a lot of time, like an unhealthy amount of time, becoming emotionally invested in, and they're right on the cusp of greatness. So it's fine. It's you know, there's other iterations of the Celtics teams that I've been emotionally invested in. They never won the championships. I don't regret it. That was all great. You know, Isaiah Thomas, Marcus Smart, all this like kind of these other like players that I really love and the teams that they were part of. But once you're kind of at this stage, you're in the finals, second time in the finals in 4 years. It's like, I mean, we've had, like you brought up in 2007, I've had some pretty heartbreaking moments as a sports fan, being from Boston. And it's something that I can appreciate about Philly. I mean, I like that there's Boston Philly rivalry and stuff, but it's, you guys have won some not in basketball, you guys have won some championships in football and had some heartbreaking losses. So you kind of have to experience both. But if you come this close, you can't just say, hey, I enjoyed this journey and whatever the fuck you said, Isaac. We have to get it done.
There are, like you said, Sam, there are seasons where you can enjoy the ride. I mean, I do that with the Sixers basically every year, like going into the season rationally not expecting them to win a championship because it is so fucking hard to win an NBA championship or any championship in any major sport. But you know, and I enjoyed the hell out of the process years. I enjoyed 13 win teams just for the fun of TJ McConnell. And I've enjoyed Embiid's run, but you know, that obviously this is speaking from a very distant place from where you currently are with the Celtics. But it's like, if they don't win a title, what does it really mean in the end? You know, like they tanked, they like made the NBA change the rules about tanking and they built this team up, and then it was like tragedy after tragedy of Ben Simmons forgetting how to play basketball and Embiid, you know, losing his knee cartilage in both knees year after year. And it's like, you know, the legacy shit is what really matters. And the Celtics have, I mean, like such a tremendous amount of pressure in this series to fucking win a title. And it's like, you know, I'm really curious to see if bitch ass Jason Tatum can step up and do it.
So yeah, what else is at stake, though, Dan, in your mind? As a Boston hater and a subsequent Dallas supporter, what's at stake for you as a sports fan in this series?
I mean, the best that Twitter will ever be if the Celtics don't win this series, because the hate will be the generational hate that will be like mostly unjustified because you know, I'm being nice to say them. The Celtics have been They have been the dominant Eastern Conference team for the last 6 years, for the better part of a decade, which is really hard to achieve. But if they don't win a championship, who gives a fuck, you know? So if Mavericks, and I love Luca, I mean, even without the, you know, this fake fandom that I'm taking on, Luca's still what, 25 years old. I mean, there's a chance that he'll never be back, but uh he could be back, and he has longer runway, I think, and his greatness is pretty evident. So there's like less pressure, I feel, on the Mavericks. I mean, Kyrie, it's certainly a legacy series to win one without LeBron, but what's at stake for me is just really enjoying being on the internet if the Celtics lose.
Yeah, I love Kyrie. Kyrie is my favorite basketball player at the moment. And
That's crazy. That's fucking insane.
Why is that insane?
I listen. I actually love Kyrie. I do. I would. I would love to avoid getting myself in a position where I have to fucking talk shit about Kyrie. Although I will. I mean, but Kyrie was on the Celtics. I fucking loved watching Kyrie so much, and all of his fucking wacky shit made me like him more. Everything about him I like, but to call him your favorite basketball player is like, I mean, why? He's beautiful to watch, but he's this is like,
he's got perfect politics, perfect opinions. He's never
I think he's been vindicated. I think
felt good, you know, just to get out there, play the game that we love. But you know, for me personally, I'm not really, you know, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. A lot of stuff is going on in this world, and basketball is just not the most important thing to me right now. There's a lot of stuff going on overseas. All my people are still in bondage all across the world, and there's a lot of dehumanization going on. So, you know, I apologize if I'm not going to be focused on y'all questions. You know, it's just too much going on in the world for me to just be talking about basketball. Like, I focus on this shit 24/7 most of the time, but it's just too much going on in this world not to address. You know, it's sad to see this shit going on. And it's not just in Palestine. It's not just in Israel. It's all over the world, man, and I feel it.
And you know, I watched Buck Breaking because of Kyrie, and I thank him for that. And he wore that fucking keffiyeh over his head for an interview. I mean, his politics rock. And
you better believe I'm cooking up some images with that.
Yeah, dude, definitely send them my way. I think that Kyrie just basketball, just in the basketball world itself. He's so incredible to watch because he's undersized. He's not the most athletic guy in the world, but he has this fucking otherworldly, mystical magic with the ball in his hands. And I get giddy watching him play.
It's a ball on this, like ball on a string. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It really is.
He's got the tightest handle in like league history. It's like he invented dribbling sometimes.
And I mean, there are so many other underrated parts of his game. He's actually an excellent defensive player. His hands are just...
He's not an excellent defensive player.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck are you talking about?
Yes,
I can't go that far.
He has, I mean, for an undersized guard...
He's surprisingly not as bad as maybe he seems when he's trying, which he doesn't always try, but he's fine.
Well, and that's kind of what's so much fun about watching him too, is he's not a try hard. Like, that's what's so fucking annoying about someone like Jason Tatum, is like he's a total cornball. And like the fact that he loves Kobe says everything you need to know about who Jason Tatum is as a person, on top of...
It just says about like how old he is and nothing else. Come on.
He loves Kobe in a totally non-gay way. Don't worry.
He loves Kobe so much that he's taking helicopter lessons. But
remember that picture he posted last year of like him in like the training room with like the bucket of lube next to him, and he just has fucking Kobe highlights on the TV. It's like, bro, do you have a social media manager? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. He's also a part of that new financial literacy partnership with SoFi Financial. That is a total fucking, it's an MLM scam through and through. And watching him dress up in a suit and talk about how he wants to help the black community with his financial literacy when he's really just stealing their money is so funny. And he has zero personality. You know, Kyrie's the opposite. Like, Kyrie is a more he's just a more interesting human being, and he does goofy, cool shit, fasting during playoff games for Ramadan.
A lot of players do that. Jaylen Brown does that.
Jaylen Brown's the cooler Boston guy. We can talk
Jaylen
about
Brown
some of
is
the players.
every bit as cool as Kyrie, but actually like better, like because he's not just trolling. He's like actually smart. Kyrie's like fucking fake smart.
I don't care about people being smart. I want them to shut up and dribble.
Why would you care about people being smart? That would be weird if you cared about that, because it's not really something that you're used to experiencing. Like
what people being
like,
smart, people being smart, people being smarter than me. You're right. People being smarter than me. I'm not used to that. So
Sam, you gotta admit that like Kyrie's moccasin shoes go so hard though.
That's what I mean. Like he's kind of corny, actually, is the thing. Like I really like Kyrie a lot. I like him as a basketball player, and I think that he's doesn't fit the mold like that so many of the other players do, and I appreciate that about him. But he's kind of corny with it. Like those moccasin shoes are kind of corny, kind of awesome.
I would love to rock those too. No, it's just so
he
cool.
is like he's like the Elizabeth Warren of the NBA.
Yeah, he is.
But she's a Boston person, so you guys get her. Yeah, I think what's at stake for Kyrie's legacy is also I think if you are a true anti-Zionist, you have to hope that Kyrie wins.
Yeah, that's what I mean with the holy war.
If you're an anti-Zionist, what's their name? Who owns the fucking Mavericks? It's
Miriam. Okay, that's the other conspiracy I want to get into, and why they've tamped down Kyrie's pro-Palestine positions. Is Mark Cuban sold the Dallas Mavericks to Sheldon Adelson's widow, Miriam Adelson, and she's I think the 8th richest woman in the world. Massive Zionist, and so you have to wonder what's going on with Kyrie and that organization. Like, it would be the coolest thing in the world if like they win, Kyrie wins MVP, and you know how the owners love to take those little pictures where they share holding the trophy with the players, and Kyrie just says "Free Palestine" right next to her. I mean that's come on, Sam, that's worth it, right? That's worth Boston losing.
It's not gonna happen. It's just the fucking mega fucking rich Zionist is gonna just win the championship. Kyrie's not gonna fucking say anything to her.
Yeah. What's up with the Boston owner? His name is like White Grooseneck or something. So who the fuck is he?
I don't fucking know.
He's
fuck owners, dude. I don't know.
There's no such thing as a good owner.
No, I can't think of a single one.
No. What was did they ever? Did Cuban ever explain why he sold the team? There was like a rumor that he was going to run for president, but that never fucking materialized. And so he was like trying to why would you divest out of that team? Like when they're, it's been like what, 13 years since they've been in the finals. Like they're finally good again.
Well, so he still is running the basketball operation itself, but he gave up a lot of financial control, but he still is like managing the team, and obviously has his little seat where he gets to like pretend like he's a part of the team. He's a big cornball. He has a yacht named the Fountainhead because he's like such an Ayn Rand fan. I know. So yeah, fuck Mark Cuban as well. Although he's a much less annoying than Steve Ballmer, the owner of the Los Angeles Clippers. That guy is a fucking weirdo, and I love watching the Clippers lose and him throw tantrums.
Yeah, but what is that guy's fucking deal, dude? Like
Ballmer or Cuban?
You're Ballmer. Like the way that he acts on the sideline is like disturbing.
Yeah, no, I mean if you've watched his Microsoft speeches, they're all unhinged and crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Ballmer!
Like he was Bill Gates's like enforcer, like a thug. Like he would threaten to beat people up. He was like scary to other nerds, I guess. But yeah, Mark Cuban they bought the Mavericks for I think it was close to 7-8 billion, like quite a bit of money. And what they're trying to do, it all has to do with sports gambling. I mean, they're going to legalize gambling in a massive way in Texas. And so Adelson, who's based in Nevada with Las Vegas, they're just reading the tea leaves, and they know that if they want to keep having this monopoly over sports betting, that owning a Texas sports team is of the utmost importance to them.
Interesting. Is sports gambling legal in Florida?
Sort of. I mean, like, they recently legalized online gambling in Florida, and we have all those Seminole casinos here. I've been wanting to do a big story about how evil the Seminoles are, actually, and how they're all fake. They're not real Seminoles. But they just passed a bill, and the Biden administration okayed it, that you could place online bets on Florida servers. And that was like the whole hang up, was this weird sort of, well, if the servers are based in Florida, then you can't technically bet. So I don't know. It's weird. Do you guys bet on sports at all?
Every fucking day.
Sam?
It's probably my favorite thing to do.
No, I don't bet. I mean, I'll bet like people in person on Celtics or something like that. I don't.
Yeah, I think sports. I think the future of sports is going to be pretty grim, and to me, sports has always been this kind of haven of the real world, because it's hard to completely fake sports results. Like, you can nudge things in different directions and cheat, and there's definitely a lot of unfairness in sports, but the beautiful thing is you can still overcome evil oppressors in sports, and underdogs can win a league. Whereas, like, politically, I've yet to see any of that yet. So sports was always this nice bit of like possibility. But with sports betting becoming a bigger thing, I'm afraid that that's not going to be the case anymore.
I am kind of torn on that, because, like, obviously, like, there's like an insidious nature about the amount of money that there is to be made. And like the Jonte Porter, the guy who got banned from the NBA for betting on his own unders in like the dumbest way possible.
Yeah,
Like,
those are so funny.
like we're probably only going to see more of that. Like, that could be the tip of the iceberg. But like, in terms of the rigging thing, that's where I'm torn, because it's like, yeah, you're right. You can nudge things. Referees can look the other way on things, or what have you. But like, the majority of people who are in relation to gambling saying that stuff is rigged are like guys who have like 13 leg parlays, and if one guy misses, doesn't hit three threes in a game, he calls it rigged. Or like, if the coach sits him, then it's rigged. Like, that's just people being bad at gambling. Like, I think like the larger like institutional wide rot, I think we might still be blind to, because I mean, like, when you're talking about the Adelsons fucking buying teams and securing their piece of the pie of the betting, like, that's the stuff that I think is really bad, and will only sort of corrupt the game more than all the games, more than maybe we would like.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all remember the whole Tim Donaghy scandal in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
He's a kind of Haverton. That's where he's from. Havertown. Is that close to Philly?
It is. Yeah, it's on the main line in the suburbs.
So here's something that's interesting about Philly is like the amount of NBA referees that come out of that small area in outside of Philly.
It is like one of the most bizarre things ever. It's like, I don't know the full.
Wait, I've never heard about this. That's what's the fucking deal?
There's like 15 NBA referees that like all ran in the same circles, like came up reffing in like Philly suburbs and like South Jersey and shit. And like, there's like 15 of them now that are in the NBA as refs.
That's insane. Someone needs to investigate that.
Yeah, it's like deeply corrupt.
They have done some investigations. The NBA investigated it themselves, and they found no wrongdoing. Kind of like, when the CIA investigates itself for, the crack epidemic, and like, no, we didn't do that. Yeah, it's the Tim Donaghy thing is really interesting, because he's kind of like the Epstein of NBA's referee scandal cheating or whatever, because he fell on the sword. Like, there was a whole system of cheating there, and he was just the guy that they We're like, okay, you're going to be our fall guy here. And he landed on his feet. And can you guys guess where he landed on his feet?
Republican politics.
Pretty close. Sarasota, Florida, my hometown. He lives not too far. He lives not too far from me, and he's a landlord. That's how he makes his money. He Airbnbs shit out here. So if you guys want,
fucking rocks.
You can get a vacation rental for Tim Donaghy. And yeah, the NBA and the FBI and all these investigations happened with Tim, and again they found no like wrongdoing. Like he was like the singularly evil force in all this, and he was just betting on his own games when it's like so clear he was a part of a huge like organized crime betting, and the NBA covered it up because they can't have that, the same way they covered up Michael Jordan's father's death because of Michael Jordan's gambling debts. Can't have that. And I remember watching Tim Donaghy ref a handful of playoff games between my favorite team in the aughts, which was the Phoenix Suns with Steve Nash, against the San Antonio Spurs. And I remember watching just these outrageous calls that did not go in the Suns' direction. And it was like, yeah, I would only learn late after the fact that was Tim Donaghy who was reffing those games. So I feel some weird kind of vindication. I mean, it's not the same as winning a championship, but being like, we should have won. We should have won if they weren't fucking cheating.
There was like, I remember they released some of the files of like their internal investigation. And I forget, it might have been like The Ringer or ESPN or some shit, did like a huge story about it. And there was like pretty convincing and clear evidence that like Scott Foster, who's now like taken on the avatar of like the crooked bad ref for like all NBA fans. Like whenever Scott Foster is reffing your team's game, like fan bases just morph that into being like, oh well, Scott Foster hates our team, so we're gonna lose this game because he's a bad ref. Which normally, like, anyone who complains about refs is a fucking baby. Like that's the most loser talk shit ever. But there was like clear evidence that Donaghy and Foster were like the two leads in this fucking scheme of betting on their games. Like Donaghy there was like phone records of him calling Foster and like all of this shit. And like he did really fall on the sword for like so many guys who are still NBA referees.
Yeah, it is tough to not want to complain about. I'm thinking of all these times where the referees ruined things for me. So I don't want to be that guy. But
you just can't be a ref guy, dude. It's like the most annoying trope.
No. It is. Well, the other thing too is you can overcome. Like it is possible to overcome all these odds against you, which again is why I love sports. Is even when you have like a 99% chance of losing, there's still that 1% chance, and if you do win in that underdog status, then it feels so fucking good. And that's what something like a Boston fan could never understand, because you guys are never the underdogs. You guys like to think you're the underdogs just because your city is not that great, but it's not true. You guys are a dominant, always like top tier team.
Is that supposed to hurt my feelings? I mean that. Go on. Should I create a little bit more runway for you?
It's sad that you'll never know what it feels like to be an underdog. You'll always be you'll always be the oppressor.
I'm in my fucking 30s and I'm a lifelong Boston sports fan. That means that I fucking grew up with the Red Sox.
True, the greatest underdog of all time. But that was 1 year. And then
no, it wasn't 1 year. It was my entire fucking childhood, plus the DNA that I inherited from my father and his father before him, who lived his whole fucking life without seeing the Red Sox win the World Series.
God, I can't wait for them to I can't wait for them to CRISPR that shit out of you guys. We don't need any more of that. But I guess for the listeners, I feel like this sports a lot of the times, if you're not like a diehard fan, you weren't from the city or whatever, and you're trying to pick a team to root for, I always want to pick the lesser of two evils, because like we said, all owners are bad. And I'd say like every city kind of sucks in its own way. So between Dallas and Boston, who is the lesser of two evils?
It's the fucking Adelson. What do you mean? They have Adelson on their fucking. That's who owns their team. Adelson.
How did
arch Zionist?
How did your grouse neck guy, Grouse Beck or whatever the fuck the Polish guy's name is, how did he make his money? You think?
Not an ethical way. There are no fucking ethical billionaires, but I'm sure he's not as bad as a fucking Adelson.
First of all, she is a widow. She inherited money, which I think is like the most
donated
honest way.
$100 million to Trump.
Who just promised Khabib? Did you guys see this at the UFC? He just promised Khabib that he would stop the war in Palestine. So Donald Trump might actually be the anti-Zionist candidate here.
He certainly can't be any worse than the other guy.
I know, right? I've been getting in so many fights about this with people being like, Trump will make Palestine worse somehow. It's like, please tell me how if that's possible.
It's literally not possible.
It's fucking crazy that they don't realize the extent to which everyone knows that they can't get any worse. It's like they're really still banking on the fact that they're banking on the ability to kind of like scare people into thinking that Trump is going to be worse for Palestine, and he's just no one is going to buy that. And it's like
it's like when you see like the protesters, like Columbia kids, like getting fucking bulldozed by cops who look like they're in fucking Fallujah, and people are like, this is a glimpse into what it could be like under Trump. It's like, what?
yeah, exactly. So Miriam Adelson, okay, evil for sure. Besides the owners, though, is there? We didn't get into to Luka too much. I think Luka is an interesting character. He's actually, I saw some funny thing about how he's actually ethnically Serb, but hates his father and has rejected his Serbian roots. I suppose he's Slovenian.
Dude,
his mother's Slovenian.
Balkan Twitter goes absolutely nuts about Luka's lineage. It's so interesting to me. I wish that I need the U.S. to become like more Balkanized so that I can like know what that feels like to have to like fight about like family lineage and like broken country states. It's so sick.
Well, I mean, the Eastern Seaboard is like probably the most Balkanized, at least in sports, part of the country.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Luka, you were saying he's a young guy, like 25, 26. I actually don't think he has that many years left, just because like you look at his body, and even though he plays real slow, I think he's gonna fall apart pretty soon. Like he looks like a guy who works at Best Buy and drinks a lot of Mountain Dew. Like he just does not look like an athlete.
I mean, so does Jokic. Looks even worse. Jokic has the worst fucking body in the league, and he's gonna end up being like a top 3 player of all time. Like, Jokic is unfucking believable.
It's pretty incredible stuff. But so to bring up Jokic, the Balkans, is Luka white? Is Luka a white boy?
Spiritually, yes.
Spiritually
and probably officially, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
So what else would he be?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Serbian.
Quick editor's note here. I've had time to think about why Serbians might not be white, is because they are the only peoples the United States have bombed who are white. I can't think of another group of white people outside of Germany, which was a war conflict that we committed war crimes against. So I think that gives white or non-white points to the Serbian people.
The two of the best players in the NBA then would be white boys with Jokic and Luka, and
Jason Tatum.
Yeah, spiritually white for sure.
Jason Tatum is very spiritually white.
Yeah, he's definitely more spiritually white than Luka.
What are you fucking talking about? Spiritual whiteness. What is this? What does that mean?
I don't know. He named his son after poop, dude. That's fucked up.
How dare you?
Yeah, well, I mean, who is it that called Luka a bitch ass white boy?
Like this bitch ass white boy.
Is that like Marcus Morris or something?
I think one of the Morris twins. Yeah.
One of the Morris twins. Those guys are so funny.
Wasn't that like in the bubble? That was so sick. That Luka went fucking crazy in the bubble.
But yeah, I think that I do think that I don't want to give white people that credit for having the 2 best basketball players in the NBA. They're just not white boys, I guess. You know, they're Serbs. I mean, like they're Balkans.
The silver lining is they're not like American white boys. Although the kid that's going to get drafted, not this draft, but the the following year. Cooper Flagg is like I think he's from like Maine or some shit. He's like a upper Northeast crazy ass white boy who is going to be extremely good.
Well, Cooper Flagg is an incredibly white name. So
yeah, it's like as white as you can get.
All right, Sam, if you don't want to talk about race, that's fine. If it's too sensitive of a topic
I'm just
for
confused. Like I think you're making this up so that you can tell yourself that you're like, yeah, I'm white, but I'm not one of those spiritual white guys. Like, do you think that you're spiritually white, Isaac?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Well,
I could never. It's not a bad thing. It's not, being spiritually white isn't inherently a bad thing.
No, I think it's just a delineation from being spiritually black,
Yeah. I think it was Patrick Beverly, who is a character I love in the NBA. Would make these kinds of have these race conversations. Who the blackest white boy is in the NBA, and I'm pretty sure he said Luka was up there.
His podcast might be the single dumbest thing like ever created. It is truly like bashing your head against the wall. And Pat Bev was on the Sixers this year for 3 months, and I loved it. I mean, he's been like such a weird NBA figure for so long. Like he's not good, but he's like makes himself appear to be good. And it was fun to have him on the Sixers, but yeah, I don't know. And then he threw the fucking ball at that lady when
that
the
was
Bucks
awesome.
got eliminated.
I loved that. That was awesome. So Dan, who's the lesser of two evils in your mind?
I mean, obviously, it just because of my biases, it's the Mavericks. I mean, there is a picture of Luka. You should probably make it like the picture of this episode. There's a picture of Luka with George W. Bush that was going around for a while. That's a fun picture, but I don't know. I mean, the Celtics to me are an embodiment of just like the privilege of an NBA of like outside the Lakers, they've won the most titles. Like they are the hunted, they are the cream of the crop of the NBA, and you're not supposed to like those teams unless you are from Boston, which is, like I would never fault Sam for being a Celtics fan. It's where he's from, but like it's like, someone from Florida being a diehard Yankee fan. Like I always hated that shit.
Well,
just
they
because
are
like a team. Yeah, there's so many of
Well,
them.
that's also
You're like,
because that's because nobody's from here, though. I went to a Rays game where they played the Yankees, and it was like 75% Yankees fans in the stadium.
Yeah, they're like, oh, my great grandfather lived in Hell's Kitchen. Like, shut the fuck up, dude.
Yeah, so that was like being a homeless sports fan growing up in Florida, because there was just like there's no ethos, there's no history. Like, yeah, Boston, it's cool to have a sports team with history like that. My dad always hated the Celtics. He fucking hated them because of the 80s. And he was just saying, like, yeah, that's the racist team. Like, if you're a racist, you like Boston. If you're not, you like LA. And that's where he stood in that.
Honestly, I had a bit of like a spiritual panic if it was going to be Celtics Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, because after this fucking playoff series between the Sixers and the Knicks, like the Knicks are creeping up there with my most despised, dude. Their fans are absolute dumbass crybaby idiots. It was impossible to be living in New York during that fucking Sixers Knicks series. It's just like so like I'm not gonna be a ref guy, but like the home games, every home game at MSG was like so clearly tilted in the Knicks' favor, and like the broad ESPN like just relentlessly sucking off the Knicks, and like a team from New York can't be underdogs. I'm sorry, that's just not how it works.
All right, so what are your predictions though? Like, what do you think the outcome's going to be? Is there any sort of drama? Like, I'm trying to think of an interesting thing that could happen between the teams besides just basketball.
Well,
I mean, Kyrie's antics maybe.
I don't know. Like, I'm kind of into the basketball angles myself, but I understand for your podcast listeners, they're probably not tuning in to like hear analysis on like how we can like how our defense can kind of angle itself to shut down Kyrie and their other like role players and let Luka cook. I don't know. Like, I can offer some basketball thoughts. But if you want to just like talk about outrageous cultural things that could transpire, like I don't know, isn't there a thing with Jason Kidd, who's the Mavs coach? Like he beat his wife, I think, and there was something like where when he was a player, when he was playing in Boston, everyone wore wife beaters or something like that.
God, that rules. Yeah, he definitely did. I think he beat his wife in like college, and then maybe again like when he was a rookie or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, certified bad guy, definitely Jason Kidd.
So maybe the Boston faithful will bust that one out again. That'd be kind of.
I don't know. I mean, Sam, what do you think like the Boston mood towards Kyrie? It's kind of cooled off a little bit, I would say, just because
it's gonna be so annoying. They're gonna boo him relentlessly, and he's gonna fucking feed off of it, and it's gonna backfire.
Yeah.
And it's just an inevitability. I mean, I don't know. It's dumb, but hopefully it doesn't last the whole series.
Right. You got to hope that they kind of get that out of their system in like game one or two.
It's just like the people that are at these games are not the fucking actual real Celtics fans.
No, it's like
they're all fucking priced out. Yeah.
How much does a ticket cost to TD Garden these days?
I mean, for the finals, I assume you can't get a ticket for less than $350. I don't know, $400.
That's not too bad. $400. That's not
for a nosebleed. I mean, you just might as well. It's just I don't know. Yeah, I'm guessing. I don't fucking know.
Should talk. I will say I've always liked.
Oh fuck. Isaac.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I have to go.
That's a good amount of time. How about you make you just say your goodbyes, Sam, and you know, you do this as a favor to me, last minute favor, which I appreciate. But also, you know, you do stuff that people can check out. Like you have a bar that just opened up in New York.
It hasn't opened yet. We're opening on June 14th. Rodeo. Come to the fucking bar. Hang out at the bar. Rodeo.
Yeah, dude.
And
Dan hates drinking. I don't think he'll show up.
Dan, you can come and have a drink at the bar. Also,
it's one of my favorite things to do.
I think I have some music coming out tomorrow, probably Samson the Truest, and then also I'd like to plug my podcast from 4 years ago that I had with my brother called Phone Wallet Keys, David Ortiz. I think there probably doesn't make any sense to go back and listen to it, but maybe we'll do another episode. I don't know. He's coming in fucking down soon. Thanks for having me on, and Celtics in 6. Dan, you seem like a fine guy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good, brother. I'll pop into the bar to watch Luka hit the game-winning Game 7 shot.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
See you later,
bro.
Bye.
And Dan,
what up?
Where can people find you if you want to be found at all?
At troop_hater. I spend most of my time on Twitter these days. Instagram kind of sucks ass now, and I don't really make memes anymore. I used to. That was the whole thing. So yeah, follow me on Twitter if you want to see me talk about jacking off and basketball.
And also, you can kind of predict which tweets are gonna have the FBI coming into your house again.
Yeah, it's like a little game. You can be like, well, they're gonna print that one out.
Yeah. No, you were a very early Instagram inspiration for me to make dumb images. And yeah, I see people steal your jokes constantly and just repost your tweets on Instagram.
At this point, it is that's what you do it for, you know.
The love of the game.
After I press send, it no longer belongs to me.
That's beautiful. All right, Dan, thanks so much, man.
All right, bro. Talk to you later.
I guess I'll leave another piece of my heart here at the monument and leave it there to be discovered by some kind of future consciousness.